One of the questions that we get all the time from people looking to move here to Cape Coral is, what part of the city should I live in? Cape Coral is a big city geographically, and we don't really have the type of traditional neighborhoods that many other cities have. We're broken up more or less into 4 quadrants: northwest, northeast, southwest, and southeast, and they all have their own personalities. So today we're going to talk about each one individually, give you the pros and cons of living in that area, and hopefully help you find which one best fits your lifestyle. So I think the most natural place for us to start is where it all began, and that is in Southeast Cape Coral.
So yeah, Cape Coral started in the southeast of Cape, kind of the tip, if you will, right where the yacht club is, things of that nature. But obviously it wasn't there when they started. Originally, it was an entire swampland. I mean, just forest and things of that nature. They planned the community. They started digging out the canals ahead of time with the intention that's what folks are going to want to buy. But the southeast is where it all began. And then from there, moved further up north on the riverside or along the banks, and then
Further out west. And a lot of the houses that were originally built in Southeast Cape Coral were the 1960s.
Yeah.
That is what our house is. That's
Uh-huh.
kind of when everything started. And it's funny, you can find pictures of all of these houses back in the day. It was like,
it's incredible.
it's like $20,000 to build the house.
Yeah,
or-
there's some ads that I've seen that was like, yeah, like $27,000 for this brand new home and all this stuff, and pretty wild to see all that.
So the initial draw to Cape Coral is, of course, the waterways, and
course.
Southeast, I would say, probably has the best water access.
I would agree. The quickest distance to open water is probably from the southeast.
Yes,
Um,
you're going to have the entire yacht club area that's down by the yacht club,
Mhm.
down by that little, if you're looking at a map, it's the very southeastern tip
Yep.
of Cape Coral. And then it kind of goes up a lot, like you mentioned, up alongside the river.
Yep.
The majority of them have Gulf access. There's
Yeah.
not a lot of freshwater canals in Southeast
No.
in comparison to the Gulf access canals. So if you're living on water, you're probably going to have Gulf access.
And quick Gulf access too. You're not going to have, your 45-minute ride out or anything like that.
Yeah, a lot of them, I mean, if you're talking they have direct Gulf access, meaning no bridges whatsoever, many of them are 10, 15 minutes out to the Gulf.
Mhm.
Some of them have bridges, but in Southeast, I would say those bridges are fairly minimal. You're probably going to have 1, maybe 2 bridges to get out.
Yeah, and you're still talking 9 feet tall, so you can get pretty much whatever kind of boat you want out of there. You're just not going to be able to do a sailboat.
Mhm. The other draw to the Southeast area is the fact that we have kind of some of those downtown amenities.
Cape.
Downtown, we have 47th Terrace, which is going to be where you're going to find downtown Cape, the
Mhm.
majority of the restaurants and the entertainment. We've also got the new developments of COVID 47th and Bimini Basin,
Mhm.
which are bringing more of that in, as well
Mhm.
as the yacht club, which is being reimagined over the coming years to really be a resort style attraction for the area.
Absolutely. You're going to find a lot of those Airbnb type homes in that area as well, where people want to come on vacation, right? And it's because of that, because they have access to all of the amenities that Southeast Cape offers, like downtown, like some of these new developments that are coming. And don't forget about Bimini East as well. They're still in talks about developing that. So we're kind of all waited in bated breath to see what that's going to be all about.
I'm excited about it.
too.
I know a lot of people weren't. It was like kind of like that low income housing area. So a lot of people were upset to see that go. But I am excited about it. It was really wrecked by Ian. Like, it had a lot of damage
It took
after
its
Ian.
toll. Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are just excited about that reinvigoration.
Mhm.
So one of the other reasons I think Southeast is really attractive to a lot of people is the quick access in and out if you're looking to get to Fort Myers.
Absolutely.
So we have 2 bridges in the Southeast. It is going to be Midpoint Bridge,
Mhm.
which bridges Veterans Memorial Parkway in Cape Coral to Colonial
Yep.
over in Fort Myers.
Yep.
So very easy access there.
Yep.
Or you've got the Cape Coral Bridge, which kind of takes you over right into the McGregor area, quick drive,
College, yeah.
quick drive to Fort Myers Beach. So I think if somebody is looking for access, they like to stay along the eastern side of Cape Coral just to avoid the traffic going over.
Yep.
We live in Southeast Cape Coral, so it's easy for us to talk about the great qualities of it because, of course, we chose here. But let's talk about some of the things that people don't like about Southeast Cape
Let's do
Coral.
it.
The first thing I want to talk about is one of the things that you don't like, and that is narrower streets and narrower canals.
And that's true. When you go anywhere else outside of Southeast Cape, you're going to find wider canals or wider streets. Cape in general just doesn't have a lot of sidewalks inside. And because Southeast draws a lot of vacationers, snowbirds, things of that nature, you're always, I don't want to say dodging people, but people are always out walking and enjoying the nice weather we have and everything like that. So you have to be extra careful when you're out there driving on the roads.
Yeah, it does make it a little difficult when like the pest guys or the lawn guys come because they park on the side and with the streets being so narrow, you're
Yeah.
like, I've got a little way to squeeze
You're
by.
just kind of dodging and weaving people on,
Exactly.
cars.
They're not your traditional size street, I don't feel like. And you mentioned the second thing I wanted to talk about, which was vacation rentals. Because we have so many amenities here in Southeast Cape, this area in particular, especially with the quick access to the Gulf, it draws that vacation crowd. So we have a mixed bag of full-time residents, seasonal residents, and then vacation rentals.
Correct.
So you traditionally aren't going to see a street that is full of full-time residents. You're going to have some neighbors that are there, some neighbors that are not, and of course, people vacationing.
Absolutely.
And then let's talk about the one that is on everybody's radar as Cape Coral grows, and that is going to be the traffic in Southeast Cape Coral. So we have the three main thoroughfares in Southeast Cape Coral are going to be Cape Coral Parkway, which is going to lead you across, west to east on the south side of Cape Coral and take you to the Cape Coral Bridge to go over to Fort Myers. We've got Veterans Memorial Parkway that is going to take you over to the Midpoint Bridge. And you've got Del Prado that runs north and south on, the east side of Cape
Connects
Coral.
those two, yeah.
And I feel like no matter where you live in Cape Coral, if you're going anywhere, you're going to end up on one of those streets.
Agreed.
And there are so many stoplights.
I've aged at those things.
It creates this traffic. So you've got, of course, everybody's on these roads, and then you've got the stoplights. People don't love it. People don't love the traffic. There's definitely much more traffic here because we've got those main roads than there are in some of the other areas because let's be honest, Santa Barbara, Chiquita, Skyline, those aren't nearly as busy as Del Prado.
Well, and especially you think during season, and a lot of the vacationers are in Southeast Cape trying to get over to McGregor to get to Fort Myers Beach and things of that nature. It clogs it up.
It does.
Which is understandable.
It does. It's manageable, though. It's not
Absolutely.
the end of the world.
Yes.
But if you're looking to not deal with traffic whatsoever, maybe Southeast isn't for you.
Yeah. Maybe it's not. Maybe you should look at Southwest.
Let's talk about Southwest.
Southwest.
So as you mentioned, the construction in Cape Coral kind of moved north and west at the same time.
Right.
So in Southwest, we're going to find not as many older homes. I think Southeast is more of a mixed bag of like 1960s homes and brand new multi-million-dollar construction.
Right.
Southwest, you're finding newer homes and there is some luxury, not as much, not like the multi-millions that are right on the river in Southeast, but you've got the wider streets. You've got the wider canals, which makes it very attractive.
Yeah, that's right. You can get a bigger boat in there, right? So the folks that are looking to get something in the 30s or 40s foot, they can easily fit something like that in there.
Yeah.
But I would say the houses in majority are not the majority, but the houses primarily are going to be like 1990s and up.
Yeah.
Right. So you'll still get some house. I mean, gosh, that's 30 years old still, but they're, they're not as old as 1960s house.
No.
Not many of them, at least.
And I think in general, I don't have the exact numbers, but you do find a lot more full-time residents there. You've still got your vacation rentals down there because of the water access, but you're going to find more full-time rentals.
Yeah.
A little bit quieter because you don't have a lot of that traffic in and out. There's nowhere to really go west. Like you go west, you're hitting mangroves. So you don't have a lot of traffic going into Southwest. It's almost everybody is coming out of
Right.
Southwest.
Like you mentioned, those full-time residents getting out to go to work and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Right.
Occasionally people are going into Southwest because they do have some wonderful amenities. They've got the Weston area over
Yep.
there and Tarpon Point Marina,
Yep.
which is obviously has the Weston. It's got some great waterfront restaurants over
Mhm.
there. And then you also have Cape Harbor Marina,
Mhm.
and that has some luxury condos,
Mhm.
the marina, restaurants over there, shopping as well.
And my favorite steakhouse, Prime 239.
Of course, that's where you'll find it. If we're the majority of the time we're in Southwest, it's going to be at Prime 239.
Oh,
You
man.
absolutely love that place.
Absolutely.
But we've got a couple downsides to living there as well, because when you talk about Southwest, it's one of the more popular places that people like to look, one of the more popular places people mention on the forums and things like that. But there are a few things that you need to know about Southwest if you're looking in that area. And the biggest, I think, thing that people don't realize is for the majority of the houses, it is a much longer drive out to the river.
Absolutely, especially if you head north of Cape Coral Parkway. Those lots, while they are Gulf access lots, I mean, it could be a 45-minute drive out to open water.
Yeah, we've been to one of our friends' houses. We drove in to go, and it was a long, like we were tired by the time we even got there. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just, let me go to bed.
I mean, mainly because the canals have a 7-mile-an-hour speed limit, so you're putzing along for a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
So.
And there's a lot more bridges
Yeah.
up there that you're going to have to deal with. The good news is they have taken out the lock, which was a big hindrance for those people that were living
Right.
in Southwest Cape Coral.
Yeah. That was a big con against that area, but since that's been gone, I've been seeing a lot more interest in there. And again, one of the biggest pros, in my opinion, is the wide canals. I mean, they're just gorgeous, especially when you're catching the sunsets and things of that nature off of there.
And as we mentioned before, it's going to be a much longer drive over to Fort Myers or to get anywhere. You have to come all the way. And again, when I say much longer, I'm talking like 15 minutes.
You're right.
But out here,
That's
15
a
minutes
lifetime.
is a big deal for people. So if you're, wanting to be closer, maybe you work in Fort Myers, maybe Southwest isn't necessarily the place that you want to be if you're looking for quick access to Fort Myers or quick access to the Gulf. You may have to trade off. Not
Right.
saying that all houses, there are some houses that have really quick access to the Gulf, but you're going to pay a premium in Southwest for that.
Absolutely, you will in Southwest for sure.
For sure. So what about those people that don't necessarily care about quick access to the Gulf, but they need quick access over to Fort Myers?
You're going to be looking at the northeast of Cape then.
Northeast, there is not much waterfront up there, but it is new construction. A lot of new
A lot of new
construction up there.
construction, yeah. And the nice thing about those homes is that a lot of them have been tied now to city sewer and water, so they're not living on well and things of that nature. The nice thing that people love about Northeast is the quick access over the bridges right into downtown Fort Myers and 41, which can take you all the way down to Naples if you wanted.
And I think another thing that people like about living in Northeast, at least the clients that I've had buy in Northeast, they're really looking, when we talk about amenities down here in Southeast and Southwest, a lot of it is like smaller businesses. Of course, we've got Target and Walmart and Publix, but if you're looking for those to be kind of all together, quick, like close by, all of that is on Pine Island Corridor. So they have access to all of that. There's the Sam's Club up there, the BJ's up there. So if you're looking to not be far from stores and
The things that you're used to.
the things that you're used to, that's going to be a great area.
Well, and the biggest draw to Northeast Cape, in my opinion, is that they have the only Chick-fil-A in Cape Coral.
So if you're looking for God's chicken, you want to
It's
be
right
in
there.
Northeast.
Yeah.
And one more thing to talk about with Northeast. We've talked a lot about, water, Gulf access, things like that. Up there, I mentioned you're not going to find a lot of waterfront property, but there is a lot of water still close by. If you're looking to do things like fishing, kayaking, paddleboarding, more fresh water up there, or you can head over, quick jaunt over to the Caloosahatchee River and enjoy the water there.
Absolutely. There's boat ramps, there's marinas and things like that that you can keep your boat at as well. If you don't want a waterfront home, but still want that access to the water in that area. And there are some communities that have direct access still, but the majority of them are
Mhm.
freshwater.
Now let's talk about some of the downsides to Northeast. The first one I'm going to mention is the public utilities.
Yes.
And I think that you have to kind of understand how Cape Coral was built out to understand why this is maybe a potential problem. Southwest and Southeast, we are all on public water and public sewer.
Right.
But when they initially created Cape Coral, they did not run public water and sewer north of Pine Island Road, which is really the dividing line between North and South Cape. They're slowly switching all of these over. And you are correct. A lot of the houses in that area have been switched over. But there is a potential that you are still on septic and well.
Mm-hmm.
And when they choose to change that over, you could be looking at a hefty assessment.
Pretty hefty assessment. And some of the homes that are up there that have already been converted, if you go in and purchase it, that's something that you have to make sure that the sellers, if they've paid it or not, if this still exists or if it's up and coming, things of that nature. So
there's still a lot of new construction up there.
Yes.
So I think that is both a pro and a con,
Mhm.
because since the majority of construction started in South Cape Coral and have kind of moved up north, you kind of have a more sporadic layout than you do down here, which is more like traditional residential.
Yeah.
So you may have one house, 3 lots, a brand new construction, 2 more lots over, something that's breaking ground,
Yeah.
and then 4 lots over, you've got another older house.
Right.
It's still in the process of being developed.
Right.
So you need to be able to live with that. I have had clients buy up there, and like one of my first questions is, how do you feel about construction happening right next door?
Yeah.
Because if you're purchasing next to an open lot, that's not going to be an open lot forever.
Right.
So some people love that, and they love the extra space for the time being. They love the fact that as that area develops, they're going to see increases in value. And then others just flat out don't want to deal with it. Now, we talked about north of Pine Island and sewer and water being a thing. So let's move on over to Northwest Cape. We'll leave that con for a little bit later, because that is it's very prominent over in Northwest Cape. But let's talk about what people love about there.
Again, the last area really to start development, and there are going to be a lot of newer homes. West
And affordable homes.
affordable homes.
People-
anything north, pretty much of Pine Island, is phenomenally affordable.
People looking for affordability are
Yeah.
finding themselves looking in North Cape.
Yeah. And these are going to be the people that are investing into the future of Cape Coral, in my opinion, because as we've been told multiple times, Pine Island will become, quote unquote, the new center of Cape Coral, which that's going to be a major vein for lots of amenities that are coming, whether it's restaurants or stores or whatever it might be. So, within the next 5 to 10 years, north of Pine Island is going to change quite a bit.
Yeah, I think you said it for Southeast, and I think it's even more important for Southwest. It is very much a developing area of Cape Coral. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a lot of amenities, but there's so many
Yet.
new things coming.
Yeah.
We've got the Seven Islands project that
Mhm.
was just announced, and that is going to bring an influx
Yeah.
of entertainment, restaurants, housing, all of that to kind of the southwest area of Northwest Cape Coral. The other great thing, it's further from Fort Myers. You're going to kind of have a longer drive over there. It's the furthest from the beaches if you're looking to go to like Fort Myers Beach or Naples. But the great thing is you are just across the bridge from Pine Island,
Mhm.
which you can go up to Pekelia, great
Mhm.
fishing up there. You can go down to St. James City,
Mhm.
which has some wonderful restaurants, and Matt Lachey.
Matt Lachey, yeah.
Matt Lachey is coming back. It's such a unique little island with
Mhm.
restaurants and shops. And so they have that just literally 5 minutes away
Yeah.
from them.
And west of Pine Island Road, there is still Gulf access that can be bought. And you can use your boat just to get right into the Matt Lachey Pass and get out that way. So,
Or if you're not living on the water, you can also go right up to Burnt Store Marina
yeah.
and get out there. It's all a preference, because if you go in at Burnt Store Marina, you can actually go north of Pine Island, and you're going to get up to Boca Grande about the same amount of time it takes us to get to like Sanibel or Captiva,
Right.
which is wild to me, because that is an area that we don't explore on our boat because it's just too far.
Absolutely. and Cayo, the northern part of Cayo Costa and all
Oh,
that stuff,
love
which
Cayo
is
Costa.
absolutely a dream up there. And a lot of people that are watching this might not understand when we say Matlacha, when you look at it on the map, it looks like Matlacha,
Matlacha.
which is what we called it
We
for the
called
first
it
like
that.
3 years
Yep.
plus. It is pronounced Matlacha.
Yeah. I remember when they said we're going to Matlacha, and I'm like, do Drew and Nick have a brother I'm not aware of? Like, does he live up here? Is it like a celebrity sighting thing? Did he open a restaurant?
90s kid thing.
Oh my gosh. So Matt Lachey, not Matt Lacha.
Correct. Yeah.
As you mentioned before, one of the biggest downsides with Northwest is the majority of those homes are still on septic and well.
Yep.
And those, again, will eventually be switched over. So somewhere down the road, they're going to be looking at that tax assessment. People are not happy about that.
Right.
But I think it kind of balances out with the prices of the homes up there.
Absolutely. What you can get a home for up there, I think, completely outweighs the tax assessment that you'll have to be added in. And for somebody like me, if you're anything like me, I would prefer being on city and sewer rather than well, in the event that, years like this year where we have a drought and, the wells are struggling a little bit. So I would rather be connected to the city services.
And the other big downside that a lot of people find about Northwest is you're going to have something similar to South or Northeast, where it's just kind of homes are more sporadic. Some people love that. Some people hate that. They don't love being surrounded by lots. They're looking for more of that residential feel. But it's great if you can look towards the future and what it is going to be in 5 to 10 years.
Absolutely. Like I said earlier, plan ahead. These are the people that are investing into the growth of Cape Coral, and we'll see that in about that 5 to 10 year span.
So at the end of the day, there isn't one quadrant that's the best. It all comes down to your lifestyle, your priorities, and what you want your day-to-day to look like. Some people want quick boating access. Some people want new construction at an affordable price. And of course, you have those that want to be close to everything. And each quadrant here in Cape Coral offers something just a little bit different. Hopefully this video gave you a clearer picture of what Cape Coral looks like and which quadrant might be better for you. But of course, if you have questions and want to nail down exactly where you should be in Cape Coral, don't hesitate to give us a call.